This is a really quick introduction for why you should vote for me for Welfare and Rights Officer. If you'd like to know more, please look at my manifesto. So what experience have I got? I'm the current Welfare and Rights Officer, meaning that I've been in the job for a year come July, and it means that I've learned all of the lessons that need to be learned in the first year of doing this role. And I had to learn them twice as fast actually, because I was also acting as president of the GU for the first 6 months of the role. One of the things that I've had to learn is how to enact change in an institution that's as complex as the University of Cambridge is. Part of that is knowing which committee to go to raise something at. Another part of that is knowing when not to raise something at a committee and to take it to a different individual, which can be a much faster option. It's a judgment call based on the individuals concerned and your relationship with them, which is going to be nuanced. It can sometimes involve thinking outside the university. So one of the things that I've been doing is working with Daniel Zeichner, who's working really hard to try and cut down the waiting lists and waiting times for mental health provision around Cambridgeshire. I also hope to be working much more closely with the NHS in the next coming months. At the moment, students are only seen as half a patient in the funding that the GPs here receive for each student is half as much as they would receive for a regular patient. And that means that the needs of students aren't prioritised, which I want to change. I did my dissertation on the welfare and rights of students at Cambridge, and through that I met lots of awesome people, so that was great. My other 4 papers were psychology, philosophy, sociology, and educational inclusion and diversity, which were all great, and I learned so much from those things. At the same time, in my 3rd year, I was the only entertainment and charities officer in our main hall, which was really a huge success, and it's since been commended for its charitable impact, so that was really cool. Outside of university life, I'm a qualified dinghy instructor and lifeguard. I'm used to having a lot of responsibility and safeguarding other people. I've worked with extremely disabled children, young adults and other vulnerable groups, including the homeless and other marginalised people. It's important to note that the Welfare and Rights Officer position is individual in that it's on both the GU and CUSU, which are independent of each other. If the role of Welfare and Rights Officer is done badly, it can cause immense strife between the 2 unions. If it's done well, it can bring them together. Not only does this play a really important political role, linking between the 2 unions, but you're also the only link between the other CUSU officers and the graduate students. Providing welfare for graduate students doesn't just happen as a byproduct of doing all your other welfare work. You have to actually reach out to them and involve them. That's something that I learned from acting as president of the graduate union. I have a constructive relationship with the autonomous campaigns, in particular the Disabled Students Campaign. I've always worked really closely with during the referendum and beforehand when they really needed a lot of support. I don't pretend to have all the answers, and a really important part of my role is consulting with the autonomous campaigns just to listen to what's best for them. Obviously I do the same thing with students. I try and make sure all of my work is student-led, but if done well, the Welfare and Rights Officer can be a really important way of maintaining good relations between CUSU and the autonomous campaigns. So I'm really happy with all that I've achieved so far. I've ticked off a lot of the points on my manifesto from this time last year. One of the things I'm proudest of is getting more funding for the DRC, which wasn't easy, but I'm very happy to say that that's happened, and now they're going to be able to fund a dedicated mental health advisor. Another thing that I've done that I think has made a really big impact is linking up all the support services. So linking up the DRC with the University Counselling Service, trying to link up all the doctors and be there as a point of connection for all of the different services around Cambridge. I've channeled the feedback from welfare officers into a new educational welfare review, which the university is conducting every 3 years. And I'm also going to be leading a student-led review every year, from which we're going to be extracting best practice and really celebrating the colleges that are prioritising welfare. I have successfully lobbied for supervisors and DOSs to receive compulsory training on student support documents and their responsibilities in providing reasonable adjustments. I've also done a lot to try and make life easier for welfare officers in all the colleges and faculties. So I've organised it so that sexual health supplies can now be ordered online and delivered by post to the colleges. Next term, when a lot of their undergraduate officers will be having exams, I'm going to be holding a lot of welfare events centrally in the Students' Union buildings. So one of the ones that I've been organising is the Big Chill. I've also been organising a Meet the Animals event and mocktails and swing night, which I'm really looking forward to. I've expanded welfare training beyond just sexual health training, but try to make the most of their precious time. And I've written a handbook, which can be referred to all the time and kind of carries a big welfare database of what all of the different colleges have in terms of provision and in terms of ideas as well. I've also held Welfare Network Forum, which is open to any student of the university to come and discuss ideas and to come and ask me to do things, basically. If you elect me for another year in this role, I'll be able to train welfare officers in preparation for their Freshers' Weeks. Now that I don't have to worry about running the GU simultaneously, I hope to be able to spend a lot more of my time helping welfare officers, making sure that their life is easy and their time is used efficiently, and also making sure that the Students' Union building really is a hub for people holding events, etc. Over the summer, instead of spending several weeks being trained for this role, I'll be able to spend the same time preparing for Tutor Training Day, which takes place before Michaelmas term begins. And I can plan and implement comprehensive training, which those tutors seriously need. Next year I want to make sure that all the achievements that I've made this year stick. It's really easy in an institution like this for academic staff to just wait out the officers and for them not to be held to account. Specifically, I want to solidify the Accessible Education Pledge and the Welfare Charter as long-term university-wide policies. I also want to make sure that welfare provision is there all year round for PhD students, not just in term time when the undergraduates are around. This leads into my long-term vision for KUSU and the GU to be working collaboratively on graduate welfare. After all, healthy, happy graduates make the best supervisors, and that benefits undergraduates too. Thank you for watching. I hope it hasn't been too long, and don't forget to vote for me between Tuesday and Thursday this week.